Welcome to the House of Maths. Today we're going to be looking at some harder GCSE trig questions. So I've put one up on the board here. Let's have a look what we've got. Looks like two triangles stuck together, ABC and ACD. We've got some information about both the triangles. Got a couple of angles in this triangle, and this one here we've got an angle and a side. We've also got this little bit of information here, the area of triangle ACD. That's this one here. We've got 56 meters squared. And what we've got to do is we've got to find side AB, which I've labelled X here. So that's what we've got to find. So looking at triangle ABC, you can see there's not enough information in that one to enable us to find X immediately. So we're going to have to use the other triangle here and kind of work our way into the other triangle, get some information in that which will help us find X. So we've got this bit of information here, which obviously we've got to use that. They wouldn't have given that to us for no reason. So it's about the area of this triangle. Well, you should know that the area of a triangle, okay, area equals half AB sine theta. Okay, I've made a video on that, so if you're not sure about this, check out one of my earlier videos. So I'm going to be using this formula here. So what you need to remember about this is the A and the B are going to be the sides adjacent to the angle. So we've got this angle, so this could be side A, and this one here is going to be side B. That's the way it works. Okay, so the area we're told is 56, and we're going to do half times A times this side here, which we've not got. I'll call that CD, times sine 105. Okay, well, we've only got one unknown in here, so we should be able to work that one out. So on my calculator, I'm going to work that one out. So I'm going to do half times 11 times sine 105. Okay, and I'm going to keep that answer in my calculator. I'm not going to round it up. And then I'm going to take this and divide that by the answer. So I'm going to do 56 divided by the answer, and that's going to give me 10.541. So CD equals 10.541. So I've kept quite a few decimal places in there. So I can put that in here now, 10.541. So that gives us that side. Now we can use this information to work our way over to the other triangle. So looking at the setup we've got here, these two sides and this angle, hopefully you can spot that we could use the cosine rule to find this side here. I'm just going to call it A. So if we AC, that side there, A. And that gets us a bit more information about triangle ABC, which is what we need in order to work out X. So you need to remember next what the cosine rule is. And again, I've got a video on that. If you've not seen it, check it out. So you should know that the cosine rule is this. Okay, it looks like that, where A is this side here that we're looking for, B and C are these two sides, and cos A is the angle opposite the side you're looking at. So we've got all that information, so we can put it straight into this formula. So I'm going to do 11 squared plus and as we want A, we're going to need to square root the answer. So again, we can just plug that into, we've got everything we need there, so we can just plug that straight into the calculator to work that out. Okay, I just need to square root that now. That's going to give me 17.092. Okay, I'm keeping quite a few decimal places in that one. Okay, so A, I'll put that in here, 17.092. Now we've got some information in the triangle ABC, and hopefully you can see that we've got enough information in there to work out what X is now. Looking at that, we've got angle up here and a side opposite. We want this side, and we've got an angle opposite over here. So hopefully you can see that we're going to need to use the sine rule for this. And again, if you're not sure what the sine rule is, check out one of my earlier videos. I've done one on the sine rule. So hopefully you'll remember what that is. Now we're looking for a side. So you want the version of the sine rule with the sides on the top. So I'm going to do this version. We want A, sine A equals B over sine B. Okay, this is the sine rule. Again, you need to remember that for the exam. So let's put in the information we've got. Well, A is going to be X, and it's going to be the opposite over there. So it's sine 45 equals that one there over the opposite angle, which is sine 118. So to rearrange this and get X equals, we just need to multiply through by sine 45. So we're going to get X equals 17.092 times sine, sorry, if I said 45, I meant 48, divided by sine 118. And again, just put that in our calculator to work that one out. So we've got that, and again, I've left this answer here, which I got from up here. I've left the full thing in the calculator, so I'm not going to get any rounding errors. So I can just multiply that by sine 48 and divide by sine 118, and that gives me 14.386. Okay, so if it was to two decimal places, we're going to get 14.39. So there's our answer. Okay, so it's quite a hard question there. You've got to remember quite a bit. You've got to be able to use this idea about finding the area. Then you've got to spot that you've got to use the cosine rule and the sine rule. Okay, so quite a bit there. Okay, be back in a minute for the next question. Okay, so here's our next question. We've got a triangle, and we've got a little bit of information about the triangle. We've got the side across the bottom is 2x minus 1. This side is x plus 3. The angle here, 45 degrees. And we're also told the area is 6 root 2 meters squared. And what we've got to do with this one is find the value of x to 3 significant figures. Okay, so hopefully you can see we're going to have to find the area. So we're going to use that formula about the area of a triangle. So you need to remember that area equals half AB sine theta. Okay, so you've got to remember that formula. Well, let's put in what we've got. Okay, we've got the area, so let's put that in. That's 6 root 2, and that equals half. And I'm going to call this side here A, so I'm just going to do 2x minus 1 times b, which is this side up here, x plus 3, and sine 45. Okay, so we could simplify this, but before we simplify this, we've got to work out what sine 45 is. So we're going to need the exact value of that. That's going to be useful here. So I've done a video on how to find the exact values, but I will very quickly show you this one. Okay, so we want sine 45. So if you draw yourself a triangle like this, label these two sides as 1, that's going to give you 45 degrees there, 45 there. And you can use Pythagoras to find the hypotenuse. It's going to give you root 2 there. So sine 45 is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So 1 over root 2. So when we've got sine 45, we can actually put in an exact value here of 1 over root 2. Okay, so we're left with this algebraic equation, and we've got to simplify it and work out what x is. So looking at that, I can see I've got a root 2. These are all multiples across here, and we've got a root 2 at the bottom. So first thing we could do is multiply through by root 2 to clear this fraction. So that's what I'm going to do. And also by multiplying, I've got a root 2 here. When we multiply this, root 2 times root 2 is 2. So we're going to get 6 times 2, which is 12. And that's going to equal a half 2x minus 1, x plus 3. Okay, so we've simplified a little bit there. Next thing I'm going to do, just to get rid of this half, if we multiply both sides by 2, we're going to get 24 equals 2x minus 1. Okay, so getting simpler all along. And now let's multiply out the brackets here. Remember, we go from here to here. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3, 6x. Then we're going to go from here. Minus 1 times x is minus x. Minus 1 times 3 is minus 3. And notice these two are both x's, so we can simplify a bit here. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the 24 to the other side. So we're going to get 2x squared plus 5x minus 27, and that all equals 0. So by doing that, we've created a quadratic equation here. So we can solve that. It's possible that it factorizes, but I'm going to take the easy option. I'm going to use the quadratic formula to do this. So you should know that the quadratic formula, x equals minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So we just plug these numbers in now. So b is this one here. So we're going to get minus 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4 times a, which is the 2, times c, which is the minus 27. Don't forget the minus. And that's all divided by 2 times a, which is 2 times 2. And then we can just go about breaking this down a little bit. So we're going to get minus 5 plus or minus, we've got 5 squared is 25. And then we've got 4 times 2 is 8. Actually, I'm doing it. I think 2 times 27 is 54, and 4 times 54 is 216. So minus times a minus is a plus. So that's going to be plus 216. And then 2 times 2 is 4. Now I'm going to go for my calculator and finish this off. Okay, so we've got root 241 there, haven't we? So root 241 is 15.52. 15.524. Okay. Now, if you look at that, I think you can see that if we did 15 minus the 15, we're going to get minus 20 something divided by 4. It's going to be minus 5-ish. And if you come up here, if you put minus 5 into this plus 3, you're going to get a negative number here, aren't you? So that's not going to be relevant here. We can't have a negative side. It's a physical, it's a triangle. It has actual positive lengths to it. So an answer that's going to give a negative here is not going to work. So we can discount that one. So we're going to have to do the one where we've got plus. Okay, so if I do that, if I work out that one now, we're getting 2.631. Okay, so x is 2.631 on that question there. So again, it's a little bit tricky. There's a little bit of algebra that you've got to do. You've got to remember this formula. That's important. You also need to know exact trig values, so you need to be familiar with that. And also you need to know the quadratic formula to help solve that. And also you've got to think about the answer that you get from this. Obviously with this quadratic, you're going to get 2 solutions. One of them in this case is not relevant. It's going to provide you with a negative length for a real item, so you can discount that. Okay, there you go. If you enjoyed that, please remember to hit the like button and consider subscribing. Thank you.